Good afternoon, guys. It's me, Jay Song. It's time for me to share about my dream that I had weeks ago uh, about XRP and what's happening. And, you know, um, so I'll just get right into it. This was on a Sunday morning after a time of prayer. I didn't have time of prayer. And then after I prayed, I went to sleep. And I had a short dream, and then I woke up, and then I went back to sleep, and I had a different dream. So in the first dream, I had woke up, and I wrote it down that I was on the ocean, and I was standing on like a platform, and I felt like there was maybe like a yacht behind me. It was some kind of big boat of some kind, very luxurious and white, and there was like a platform that looked like a helicopter landing pad. It was kind of floating off to the side, or attached to the boat. It was really solid, and I know it wasn't moving. But as I was looking at the ocean, there was a crash of a plane. I didn't see the crash. I just saw the wreckage, and you could see it. And if anybody were to ask you what happened, you'd say, "Oh, there was a crash. It something, a plane crash." But it was a crash, and there were so many people swimming in the water. They were wearing suits. There was women that was wearing like dress suits, men wearing dress suits, and they were all swimming, and every one of them was clinging to a luggage that they had. They had like one of those hard shell cases that you would have for luggage, and they had them, and they were all, floating them, and they were all trying to swim, and grab on and put their luggages where I was standing. All of them were coming towards where I was standing, and they were throwing their luggage near me, and I heard a word that says they're throwing their lot with you. And they were all just trying to grab it. Some of them were swimming towards the luggage and looking around to salvage what they had left from the crash. And that's exactly how I said it was how they looked. They were trying to salvage what they had left. I was wondering, why aren't they all swimming to safety? Well, it had more to do with the crash than it had to do with them drowning. It wasn't about them so much drowning, but as to salvage what they had left from this crash. And they were going through different parts of the plane. They were swimming here and there. Some of them were just panicking. Some of them had nothing left. Some of them were just grabbing what little they had and taking that little and throwing it where I was at. They were just grabbing luggages, and some of them were even grabbing other people's luggages and trying to help them throw all their luggage. It wasn't, again, so much them trying to stand on where I was standing, but rather than throwing their lot with where I was. And this is something I was really perplexed by it. I was like, oh wow. I woke up and I almost immediately knew what it was. I knew that the crash of the plane was talking about some kind of some kind of economic crash, and that they were trying to save whatever they had left financially from this thing that happened, and they were bringing it. They were just trying to join or throw whatever they had in the same direction of what I had. And I was at peace. I was 100% at peace. I was watching everything that happened. I was like, wow, look at this crash. And I was just standing overlooking everyone, and I just 100 at peace. And I had all of my stuff was already on the boat, and that was the dream that I had for the first dream. I went back to sleep, and I immediately had another dream. And in the second dream, I was in my room. I was looking, where's my car? Where's my car? Where's my car keys? And I couldn't find my car keys. And I looked out the window, and I didn't see my car. I was like, where's my car? So I remember like standing outside for just like a brief moment saying, where's my car? And I remember just going right back in the house. I was looking all over the house. I wondered, did somebody move my car? Did I put it in the garage? I never park it in the garage. I always park it in the driveway. Where is my car? And so I started looking for my keys all over the place, and I remember that I said, I'm gonna look in the garage, uh, because I think there's a chance maybe I put it in the garage, or somebody took it and needed to move my car, and they put it in the garage or something. And for whatever reason, I opened up the garage, and I remember that it was early morning, and the sun was not even over the horizon line. It was very purple, like it was very early morning. But there was some light, but not enough to see the sun. But it just was early morning, enough to know that it was a morning. And as the garage door opened, I came through, and I was shocked to see this huge. It looked like a tractor trailer. I know some of you in the chat room on our chat, one of you guys is a trucker. I saw this huge tractor trailer, and it was white, and it looked like a United Rentals tractor trailer. And I thought it said some kind of sign on the sign that said something about rentals, and the trailer was in my driveway, and the tractor part was in my driveway, and the trailer was all the way, to the left of to the right of the road, and just going across the street, almost touching the other houses at an angle, blocking the whole road. Of course, it was huge, and I was like, and I looked up, and this man, he was like, filling with some paperwork, and then he looked at me, and he had brown hair. He was very excited to see me, and he was like, "Hey, are you Jay Song?" And he, sticks his head out the window. I said, "Yeah." And I said, "Did you tow my vehicle? Like, I own my car. I own my own car. I don't owe anybody. Like you can't repossess it. Like I paid cash for my car. I don't owe any payments." He's like, "No, it's not that. I'm trying to give you something." I said, "What? Give me something. What are you trying to give me?" And he said, "Well, I know what it is, but this is for you." And he gave me a slip of paper, and he said, "I need you to sign for it." And he gave me a black marker. It was like a black Sharpie marker, and I was like, "Okay." And it looked like a FedEx packing slip, a FedEx packing slip. And some people say you can't read in your dreams, and I've read times in my dreams before. Like if you're seeing an exit sign or something, you can read in your dreams to a degree. And when I looked at that slip, I felt like I easily read most of it, but there was some parts that I couldn't see or couldn't remember when I woke up. But the part that I did remember, and I looked at it, and I remember he said, "Sign here," and he pointed to where I needed to sign. But there was also some black words that were written right above where I signed. So I signed my name, and then I looked at the words, and the words said, let's see what I mean. It said, "Because you deserve it," and then blah, 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 blah. I couldn't read that part. "Holder of XRP." And then it said something else in another language, and then it said more, and it said ... And that was it. There was words I didn't understand. I had a feeling like it wasn't just about XRP, but the first one said, "Because you deserve it, holders of XRP," or "holder of XRP." And I remember that part, and I saw some other words, and it was kind of scribbled. I think I was more excited than anything, but I remember that was like "holder of XRP." And then the other words, I believe, were about some other things that were involved. And I said, "What is this?" And he says, "So I didn't take your car, but I had to move your car way down the street. I had to move it out the way to make room for your delivery. This is for you." And I said, "What's inside?" And he was like, "He's like, you're gonna see. You're gonna. This is so much that they said it was so much that they had to hire a rental van, a rental tractors, to unload all your stuff. It's more than you can. It's more than we could take in one trip." And I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, all of this, it's for you. I've been told that I have to give this to you." And I was like, "Okay." And so he was like, "Yeah, I just need to get a tool to help unload it." And so I was very excited what is inside. He went to the left, and immediately I walked with him, and we were in some kind of warehouse where he was getting like a tool, almost like a big wrench, some kind of tool. Um, it was like a huge firefighter wrench, and he was working with some hoses that were there. And I don't know what he was doing with the hoses, but he was doing the stuff. And then he was like, "Okay, I got it." And then he started walking back, like as if he was gonna need these to help unload whatever was given to me as a gift. And we walked back, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I got it. I wanted to ask you a question. I've been really curious about this. Um, can you explain to me the Rose of Sharon? Because I've been hearing a lot about the Rose of Sharon, and I want to know." Um, and I was like, "Oh yeah, it has a lot of, biblical meanings." And as I was about to have a biblical conversation with him about the Rose of Sharon, immediately I woke up and I couldn't feel my arm. I guess I had slept on my arm, and I just was, jolted out of my sleep, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And it felt so real. It felt like I was there in the morning, and it was about 4 a.m., which is when I wake up normally anyway, most mornings. But this morning it felt like it was really a morning where I woke up, and then it just happened, and it was overnight. I just received this great blessing, more than I can take, more than I contain. And I believe I believe it. The scripture says that I will pour out you such a blessing, pressed down, shaken together, your cup will runneth over. And when the cup runs over, it's more than you can receive. Um, and I'm really glad to share this. I just feel like I wanted to share this dream, um, because I'm following. I'm not the only person that's been having these dreams about what's coming with XRP. Now I know a lot about what's XRP, what should happen with XRP because of the things behind the scenes. But I think this dream was about maybe a month and a half ago, and this is all apart from the charts. There's people who are saying that there's going to be one more fall, and I also believe that too. I believe there's going to be one last fall. I believe that, according to the charts, as I see them right now, Bitcoin's going to shoot up to 38,000 and come right back down because of where we're on the charts. There may be another heavy sign of weakness that I seek happening on the charts as I chart them for anyone who's following me in the group. And I believe we're going back down, and Bitcoin will not recover. XRP, I believe, is also going to fall when this final crash happens. And I believe what they're also saying, that we're going to find some support around maybe 25 to 35 cents. I think it's 35 cents. Some people are going to say saying it's going to be the one lady, she also had a dream. She said it was 25 cents. But it was, as soon as it came down, it almost went up right away. I've also heard from some of the comms earlier in the year about XRP that they said there'll be a time to reinvest, a small window of time that you'll know it. You'll know it when you see it. It's going to be a time to reinvest. I believe it may even be at 25 cents for maybe a day, a few days, I think at most, because of what's happening. And then the switch will be activated. What will be the final catalyst for the fall of XRP? It will be, with a temporary fall of XRP until it goes to beyond the moon, will be Bitcoin. That's where I'm leaning towards, because everything in the markets are following Bitcoin because of Bitcoin's in has to fall because it can't sustain itself. If anyone who's been following all my, my blog on the actual on our chart on our chat room, which I'll put a link in the description if you don't see it, if you're watching this video and you're not part of my group. Because of that severity of the weaknesses on Bitcoin, the projection is, I see it under $4,000, and some people have even more projections than that. But just doing my core projections, ABC repeated, we're looking about 4,000. That's a huge fall from grace from a currency, a cryptocurrency that's supposedly right now approximately $35,000, going down to $4,000. That's huge. And then XRP will move proportionally, just the same as with all cryptocurrencies. And we're not far from that. We are not far from that crash. It could also happen through some kind of emergency. A lot of things. A lot of things can cause that final fall to start the catalyst. But I'm letting people know, some people, that the charts are already set up. Warren Buffett, I think it was Warren Buffett who would say, "Show me the charts and I'll tell you the news." I'm not sure if it was Warren Buffett, but there was some great traders that always used to say that, and it's very, very true. It's not any of these big people who just, like Elon Musk, can't just crash the whole market. No, those markets were ready to fall. It's like if you had price on this going up and down on a trend line, and it cracks through and it swings up and it's hitting this line like this and it comes up, higher prices are impossible without it having to go through all of these buyers and sellers who are exiting their positions, because we're now on the underside of that line. This happens all the time in the markets. If Elon Musk happens to tweet, "Hey, we're going down," he's tweeting it at these points, not at these points. That's a very basic example of how weakness can appear on a chart, and that's what we do. That's what I do. I do price maps as a technical analysis. I do the technical analysis on the charts as an analyst. Sorry, and this is what I've been doing for many years, since I was only 18. And today's my birthday. I'm actually turning 37 today, so super happy about that. And I just wanted to share these kinds of things so that people are not freaking out when XRP crashes, because it has to go. Bitcoin has to die. The wealth in Bitcoin, the structure of Bitcoin, is all going away for many, many, many reasons. And if you don't know, you need to really find out about what XRP is, because XRP is the financial structure underneath the whole global currency systems that are happening. Everything is being built with digital currencies. Every country is going to have their own digital currency, and they're all, America's going to have one. Almost every other country's already announced that they have either done and completed trials, or have begun trials, or are planning to do trials, and including China. And now it's just a race for who's going to be the first to activate. Well, they're all going to really activate by joining the Ripple Labs ledger. And Ripple Labs is, they're basically our XRP, because they have all their own countries' money. So basically, instead of using dollars, physical dollars, they're going to use a digital dollar. Every country is going to have their own digital dollar. And when they want to send that dollar to someone else, they convert it for just a moment into XRP, and they send that XRP through the ledger to whoever needs to receive it, and it comes back out the other end as whatever currency it should be. If it's another dollar, it'll be another dollar. If it's going from a dollar to a peso, it'll be instant, and it takes 3 seconds. This is the core foundation for going to be everything, and it's going to control about 90% of the world's money supply, including it's going to be backed by gold because of all the Basel III law. So there's a lot of stuff that's in there, and it all sounds crazy, and it's all true. People need to do your homework. You need to investigate that. The The biggest banking regulators in the world have already said they are not going to be using Bitcoin. Bitcoin is also being banned everywhere, including China. They're banning Bitcoin mining, and it's slowly phasing out. It has to die. Yet we're still at these prices of 30, 35,000. How is this possible? How are we still around $30,000 level, and we're going to stay that way, and yet no one's using them? And also, it's a dinosaur. It does not have. It costs. As I heard that one guy, that one computer programmer, that young man, he said if everyone in the world used XRP, the amount of electricity that takes alone would be astronomical, and there wouldn't even be enough electricity in the world. And also, the other thing about Bitcoin that I often tell people is that if you're using Bitcoin, the more expensive Bitcoin gets, the higher it costs just to do a single transaction. And they said that when Bitcoin was around $60,000, the price for buying a cup of coffee with Bitcoin was approximately $50. It is insane to think that the world is going to adopt that program when you can just make your own. And they did. Bitcoin was the test. Ethereum was the second part of that. But XRP is the final product. XRP solved all the problems that Bitcoin had. It uses just a 57,000 times more efficient electricity than Bitcoin. 57,000 times. Do the research. It also costs only 0.0008 of a cent. That's even less than the current SWIFT network that we use. When you bind something at the like you're sending somebody on Cash App, or you're writing a check to somebody, well, that money is all going bank to bank to bank to bank to bank to that convenience store and pays them, and then that's how it is. And that actually takes several days. They call them up and say, hey, is the money on its way? Yes, the money's on its way, and it has to keep getting to certain locations. But when they call up other people, even though they haven't received the money, they just kind of say, hey, is the money on its way? Yes, the money is on its way. That's why it gets credited right away. But the truth is, it's not credited right away. When you're going to the store like Target or Walmart or whatever, and you're swiping your card, the money really isn't there right away. It's just on a ledger, and the actual amount of time it takes to get to that point is very long. But because XRP is saying, hey, we don't need everyone to use XRP. Everyone can use their own stuff. We're just the bridge between everybody. But because we have such a big ledger, we're able to know instantly if that money's arrived or not. And you will have that, and it's completed on the ledger in 3 seconds. A few years ago, it was 5 seconds, and now it's 3 seconds. The whole world has chosen to use this system, and there's so many partners. Visa, MasterCard, the Rosie Ross, who signs the dollar bills. She signs the dollar bills. She is now on the board of directors for Ripple. Who is that lady from Visa, for MasterCard? She just recently left MasterCard, and now she's also on the board of directors for Ripple. David Schwartz helped write Bitcoin and helped create that. And now he's with Ripple. Some people say he's actually Satoshi Nakamoto, who was the creator of, Bitcoin, which really they believe is just a government program, hidden. And there's a lot of stuff that goes beyond this, very, very big stuff. And I want everybody to know that it really is XRP. It really is the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the righteous. And there's so many reasons that people should be in XRP at the moment, or at least waiting for that final crash, which I believe it's not much longer. My personal opinion right now with current timelines is around the 28th, but it could be sooner. I believe it's sometime in July, and today is at the time of this video, it's July 7th. It could be this week, it could be tomorrow, I don't know. But if you don't know anything about it, just buy some and hold it. Get in position. If you only had $10, it'll go a long ways. But if you can, put some aside And if you're kind of an anxious person, just forget you have it. If you're a trader, you can try and trade it all the way down, making money like I do. I buy and sell it, buy and sell, buy and sell, and I exit at higher positions and I keep buying at lower positions to accumulate. So I'm able to accumulate many, many more shares without having to spend any more money, just because you can tell when to exit and when to enter. That's what I do as a trader. But even if people were not doing that, if you were listening to some of the other prophetic dreams that people are having about these, people are waiting, people are seeing that it's gonna collapse, and it hasn't collapsed yet. We're 65 cents. That's not a collapse. 25 cents I would consider collapse. 30 cents, 35, I would say it's collapse. Somewhere around even 40 cents, maybe that's a collapse. But I think now people are waiting for the right times, and I'm glad you're listening. Thank you very much for hearing my dream, and I hope you all are in position and just ready for what's to come. And I hope that God is able to use this to just put wealth in your hands, security in your hands. There's a lot of us in the world who should be doing a lot of things with the money that God has to give us, and He's looking for those who He can use. In the Bible, God had 3 servants. The king had 3 servants, and he said, I'll give one 3 talents, one 2 talents, one 1 5 talents, one 3 talents, and one 1. And it says this, each according to his own ability. The one who had 5, he went and he doubled his money. The one who had 2, he went and doubled his money. He said, these servants said, it wasn't much, but I did the best I could. God said, well done, good and faithful servant. Because you've been faithful in little, I'll bless you with much. Step into your inheritance. And in another, one of the other books of the Bible, it says, I'll make you ruler over many cities. But the one who had 1, he just buried his money in the ground because he was afraid. He was afraid to lose it all. He was afraid maybe of his master's rejection. A lot of things, but fear kept him from stepping out and doing something with the money that God gave him. And what he did caused the king to say, you wicked and lazy servant. You knew I was a hard man. Why didn't you go at least put it with the bankers? Because at least the bankers were getting some interest with it, so that I would have at least had some interest on it. But he didn't even do that. He just buried it in the mattress, put it in the ground, and it didn't come up anything. That caused the king to be angry because he wasn't being faithful. He was just playing it safe to not lose. A lot of people play money game to not lose. You'll never be wealthy. You'll never actually do the purpose with the money that you have if you're just playing safe. You do have to take some risks. You do have to try something. If you don't know what to do, seek out those who know what to do. And at least do something, because the king told him, you could have at least done this. He knew that man, maybe he wasn't good at money. Maybe he didn't know what to do. The king already knew that. That's why he only gave him 1. If he thought he was better, he would have gave him more, because it said each according to his own ability. So if you're kind of person out there and you say, I don't know what to do with my money, I just don't know. God already knows you don't know what to do. He'll lead you to the right places. He'll make it easy on you. He'll make it easy on you. I'm even telling you here in this video that I have to say this is not legal or financial advice. This is just for comical purposes. But I would say we know what to do. We know what's coming. We know that XRP is not based on a hype. It's actually just based on activation, a flip of the switch that can happen almost overnight. And if you don't believe me, again, do your research, do your homework. You need to understand how money works and where the money is flowing, where it's flowed, and what now we're waiting on, which is basically almost nothing. The king had this in his heart, that the person who only had 1 would also have the chance to receive the same amount of reward. He he would have told him, "Well done, good and faithful servant." If he said, "Master, I didn't know what to do with your money. But I found some money lenders, and I got some interest on it. It wasn't much interest, but I didn't double your money maybe, but I got some interest on it. But here's your money." God would have said to him, "Well done, good and faithful servant. For you've been faithful in little, now I'll bless you in much." And he would have got the same reward. Is that God's personality? Well, the other part in the Bible that tells me that is when God went out to the field, when Jesus said the parable when he went to the field and he said, "Hey, early in the morning, hey, you work for me and I'll pay you what is right." And he said, "Okay," and he said, "Okay, great." And then he went to the next person a little later in the day. "Hey, work for me in my field, I'll pay you what is right." And then he went all the way to the end of the day, and finally, in just a few more hours in the day left, he said, "Hey, friend, what are you doing standing here all day?" And the man said, "Well, there's no one has hired me." And he said, "Okay, well, work for me, I'll pay you." And so at the end of the day, he said to the foreman, "Pay them now, starting with the person who worked the least amount of time, all the way to the person who started in the very beginning of the day, who carried the brunt of the work." And he paid the man who only worked just I think it was 1 hour. He paid him a full day's wage. And that was a lot of money for just only working an hour. Easy money. Then the men in the back said, "Wow, if he paid him a full day's wage, what is he going to pay us?" And then, so everybody kept getting paid. And then when it came to the end of the line, those men in the backs expected to receive even greater. And the foreman gave them just a full day's wage. Now they got mad at this. They got mad at the man, and he said, "Hey, you hired us, and you're only paying us a full day's wage." And he said, "Friend, I told you I was going to give you a day's wage. What's right is a day's wage." He said, "Why are you angry? I told you that I was going to pay you that. Now, are you just angry because I'm so generous? Can I do what I want with my own money?" Is what he said. And it's true, he can. If God wants to pay and bless your socks off, even though you haven't been investing for years or trading for years, or you don't know anything about money or anything like that, and I wouldn't be surprised if God blesses you and makes you even more wealthy than people who have been doing the money game their whole life, studying finances, and you'll become more wealthy than them. How is that even possible? God has a right to do whatever he wants to do with his money. And the scripture is right when it says that the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the righteous. It is. It is it is his purpose in his heart where he wants to move the flow of money. And if he wants to move it into your hands, praise God. If you don't want it, fine, give it to me. I'll take it. But there's a lot of people out there who are going to receive a great amount of wealth in a very short time. They're going to receive probably more wealth than they know what to do with. And they could be nobodies. It doesn't matter. They could be somebodies. It doesn't matter. If you want it, say, "Lord, show me how to get it. Put it in my hands." And if he gives it, praise God. If he doesn't, praise God. The Lord made the day as well as the night. But as far as this goes, I believe this is soon. And I believe that for people who are listening and watching what is actually happening when it comes to money, the last thing I'll say before I end this video, and I'll end this in 35, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, politically and, with everything going on. One day I asked the Lord, show me how to, if the world's going through this shaking and there's so much transition, usually that means money leaves one hand and flows. And if you can find the flow of money, you can always come on the receiving end. That's what I prayed. I asked God, "Lord, show me how to get on the receiving end of when all of this shaking happens, so that I'm in the good position." Because if somebody loses money, that money doesn't go away. It just goes somewhere else. During the lockdowns, money went to Jeff Bezos and all these people. Those rich got richer. The poor got poorer. So if the world gets shaken up again, where will that money go? Lord, put me on that side of the money. That's what led me to all of these things. That's what led me to start looking at XRP. God bless you all. Thank you for listening.